This week's video is about our readings in the textbook, kind of tying up the syllogism model. So it'll be chapter 6, chapter 7, chapter 8. Chapter 6 is a lot about grounding premises, binding and non-binding authorities, and making sure that you have strong arguments so that judges will be persuaded by your arguments to come to the conclusion that you're anticipating. Chapter 7 is a lot about the minor premise, which is a factual statement that comes second in the syllogism model. It dives a little deeper into that and how you ground it. And chapter 8 is a summary of pretty much the syllogism model in general. It's a step-by-step of how to do it. It's very clear and concise and does a really great job of summing up the rest of the readings for syllogisms so far. So chapter 6 is a lot about premises and grounding your premises. The most important part of having a good syllogism model is your premises. You want to make the judge believe that the only way that they can accept your conclusion is because your premises are so concrete and strong. And sometimes if your premises are disputable, you use grounding to anchor them and make them stronger. And you can do that through binding authority or non-binding authority. Binding authority is the strongest. That's the most powerful way to ground a premise. It must follow higher authority. So that's going to be controlling precedent, which is decisions by higher courts. So Supreme Court, appellate court, state courts, anything that's higher up that's been decided, that's going to set precedent. And then there's statutes, which is legislation, or constitution, which is like the ultimate. Non-binding isn't you don't have to accept that, but it can be influential. So that can be courts from other jurisdictions, restatements, or maybe opinions from respected judges or historical figures. They're always going to be weaker than binding authority, but sometimes they might help your argument become a little stronger. Another great source of grounding is direct grounding. So that's when your major premise is a claim about what the law is and it links directly to an authoritative source. So once it links to an authority or a direct piece of evidence, the court must accept that the authority is shown, and that works as a great source of grounding. Ways that you can directly ground something is through statutes, constitutions, and regulations. If you quote the text directly, use the plain meaning, or even take higher court interpretations and statutes, those are binding, but they're also direct. You can also cite case law. That helps a lot, especially because we have a common law structure, and precedent and stare decisis are very important. So if you can cite previous decisions or previous opinions, that also helps strengthen and ground your premises. Chapter 7 is all about the minor premise. The minor premise is always the factual assertion that's listed second in the syllogism. Those are always brute facts or compound facts. Brute facts are something that are indisputable or something that maybe we don't question as much as a compound fact. Compound facts are more complex or things that we might turn our head at. The example that's used in the book, and we talked about this in class, is that I have a headache versus I saw Stella cheating on her husband. That I have a headache, or the very plain statement, nobody's going to be like, do you have a headache? What is a headache like to you? Have you ever experienced a headache? Everybody's just gonna take you for your word. It's just common, people will accept it. A compound fact, the cheating, for example, it's more well, what did you see? What is your definition of cheating? Okay, well, was it Stella? It's something that people question more. So brute facts are always going to be stronger because people are going to accept it easier, whereas compound facts are going to need more grounding, more definitions, and more interpretation. And finally, chapter 8 is a summary of the syllogism process. It's pretty much taking everything and blending it into one model that people can use to make an argument that's strong and convincing. I really like the way that chapter 8 kind of brings everything together because it it serves as a model that can be referenced, and it's also like puts it all together into one piece. I don't have to go through and read all of the chapters again just to find the next step of what I need to do. It ties everything together quite concisely and quite clearly, so it's easier for people to understand. So I think that was a great way to like finish off the textbook or finish off the reading.